Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I am Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and I have some great guests with me today. But before we jump into our show, I want to ask our audience out there to please log on to cobrt.com. Check out our events page. On Monday, August 20th, we're so excited to host our second annual View from the Top event. That is a CEO panelist. There will be featured CEOs from Western Union, Red Robin Gourmet Burgers, and Jacobs Engineering here in Colorado. We have partnered with Denver Business Journal to put on that event for you, and we're very excited, so be sure to register and get your tickets now. And so today I have not in studio, they're actually joining me by phone. I have Jake Ward, president of the Connected Commerce Council, which we'll probably refer to as 3C from here on out, as well as Victoria Wise. She is also a board member of 3C and founder of Madeworthy Media. So Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having us. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, of course. So while I have you on, I'm going to go ahead and have you talk about your background and how you came to Connected Commerce Council and, why you're such a good expert with small business.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. My background is a mixed bag, which I suppose is the only way that you make a career of starting advocacy organizations for small businesses, sort of a patchwork of paths that get you there. I'm a former reformed political staffer in Washington, D.C., who as my career went on, had the opportunity to work with entrepreneurs around the country and ultimately around the world in a number of different capacities that led me back to finding ways that I could help them be advocates for themselves. There was a dearth of organizations, whether they be nonprofits or for-profit companies, that would help small businesses get the tools and resources they needed to be successful in business, but also to engage in the public policy making arena to their benefit. And so about a year ago, I began working with a number of small businesses to think through what challenges they face immediately and in the future and how best to serve that growing community. And the outcome was the Connected Commerce Council, 3C, which officially launched 2 months ago, and on Thursday we'll be holding its first SkillsConnect event in Boulder, first of many that we will hold around the country throughout the fourth quarter and first quarter of next year. And I'm excited to talk about that a little bit more, and very excited to speak with what I hope will be dozens of small business owners and operators that join us in Boulder this week.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for that introduction. It does sound like you have a pretty good background there on helping small businesses and entrepreneurs get on the right track. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. So again, as I mentioned, you are a board member for 3C as well as the founder of Madeworthy Media. If you don't mind giving us a little bit of your background, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. Well, I started my current business. I've had several, but the one that I run now through a Facebook group. I launched a Facebook group in 2011 when I had started another business, and it just served as a local, almost like a networking group or referrals group. Anybody could just get in there and chat and ask questions about whatever they wanted. And then when I sold the business that I had before, in 2014 and 2015, launched a few more businesses. One was a social media marketing business, and the next was Tanglewood Moms, which was the name of that Facebook group. I launched a website. I created an email newsletter, an Instagram account, and started building up that group and then just adding in more membership. So for about 2 years, we started, we monetized through having this website that was a business directory listing and blog. We told stories. Well, initially it was just me blogging by myself, but within 6 months, I hired a team of writers and an editor because we were just getting a lot of traction. Then in 2017, So about a year ago, I had an idea to launch a magazine, and that came to fruition. We publish bi-monthly, and we're starting year 2 with our September-October issue. So it's kind of different than other magazines in the format. It's a broadsheet. It's large. It's 11 by 17. Comes to your house folded in 8.5 by 11, and it just tells community stories, really to an audience that's like me, because I kind of understand my peer. It's women 25 to 45 that are interested in being active in the community. So it's gotten a lot of great recognition, and so I'm just really proud of it.
Well, congratulations on that. And you said you were going into, so you finished your first year with the magazine, going into your second?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah. My background, my business background has been running jewelry companies. And then in that business I mentioned before, I had a Facebook-based business called Jewelry Nut Auctions. And we popped on the scene, and within the first 4 months had already done nearly $500,000 in revenue just by posting fun jewelry for sale and invoicing through PayPal. And then we ended up needing to build systems to run our business. But at our largest, we had about 19 employees and doing about $1.5 million in revenue. We were building software to help enable other businesses to do what we were doing. But ultimately, software is it's a tricky endeavor, and you kind of need the right people. And we just weren't able to get that. It was working for us, but we weren't able to get that off the ground. So we sold the business, and then I launched kind of what I had in hand, which was this Facebook group that turned into a publishing company.
Wow, that's so impressive. And you started out, it sounds like, on an avenue that it's a little different, right? So you started out as a Facebook group, and now you're a publishing company. Do you mind walking me through that process?
And really, they're similar in that Facebook was the basis for both of those, and that the investment was really low. That Facebook-based business, Jewelry Nuts, was started with a $1,000 investment, and we would hop online at 8 o'clock at night, start posting things and recording them into a spreadsheet. And then with the other group, it was a $100 investment. I bought a WordPress template. I put it together myself and got it online and popped onto that Facebook group saying, hey, I started this website. We have business directory listings at a low cost to advertise there. And then to subscribe to our newsletter, because we were going to be blogging and telling stories through the blog. So so actually taking that from the Facebook group into a business was just an idea. I mentioned I started that social media marketing business in 2015. What I was doing was sort of taking over people's social media or businesses, and we had a national client and a regional client and a local client using our services, and our rates were fairly high because really it was just we were running all aspects. We had to get in there, get our hands dirty, learn the business, and then figure out a strategy that would work for them. So local businesses, small ones, were not quite that it wasn't in their budget to have someone to run social media. Social media managers in 2015 were just kind of hopping on the scene. Now that I feel like it's a whole new category for people to be able to start a business, and so many businesses needing it. So when I started TangleWithMoms.com, it was a very low cost option for small businesses to leverage what I had already built in that sort of captive online audience. People that were coming to our website, every day, and I was able to act as their advocate, both on the website and within that Facebook group.
That's awesome. Thank you for that explanation. And Jake, so you said that 3C is only a couple months old.
It is. We officially launched in second week in July, so I guess technically it's only a month old. But we began laying the foundation for this months ago. So you can imagine it takes a while to stand things like this up.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me about 3C, what exactly it is and why you had such a passion to get it out there and started.
Well, I think that Victoria is the answer to that question, right? While her story is remarkable, it's not unique. the thing that the majority of small businesses in the United States operating today have in common is that their barrier to entry has been significantly lowered by digital technologies. That's a good thing. You know, the small businesses drive the U.S. economy. They're responsible for the majority of jobs. They're responsible for the majority of gained and earned revenue, and those numbers are only increasing. The barrier to entry for small businesses to start, succeed, and sustain has been lowered every year for the past 25 years, and we're at an all-time high, which is also a good thing. But understanding that in the current policy, I don't even want to say political, but in the current policy climate that we're operating, the foundation of those tools and technologies are in question, specifically data, right? Where do we, as small businesses, find space to plug into larger platforms, whether they be Google or Facebook or Intuit or Salesforce, any number of large platforms that provide small business specific services? Where is the investment by the small business community in maintaining the quality of those products? So that's one aspect of what brought about 3C. The other is access to those products. As Victoria just said, it was through a Facebook group that led her to then launch several businesses. She knows how to use these tools, right? She's very adept at it. And as her business grows and as she's increased her footprints, whether they be online platforms and tools through web services or social media, or taking design digital templates and taking those offline, she's become skilled in that. Other small businesses are starting at zero but need to learn those skills. How could we help? Right? If we aggregated the knowledge and expertise of several hundred small businesses that have already traversed this road, could we successfully expedite that growth process for other small businesses? I think the answer is yes. So let's try. And then the last piece was that there's strength in numbers. Universally, at all times, whether it be policy issues, mentoring, trying to find answers to questions that only other small businesses who have gone through the same travails and who have a shared perspective on how to build a business, the leap of faith that it takes to start and succeed. And there's something to be said about finding a community across borders, state, community, et cetera, that can be supportive in times of need.
I like that. So your target audience then really is any small business across the country. Is that right?
It's any small business that is currently using digital tools or technologies to grow or sustain their business, or is interested in using tools and technologies to grow and sustain their business. So yes, just about every small business in the United States.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that aren't using digital tools at this point, right?
Well, therein begs the question, right? Why are we even having to do this if it is the engine that is driving the U.S. economy? Shouldn't we already be paying more attention to it? And since the answer is no, then our answer is yes, everybody.
Awesome. I love that. Do you mind talking a little bit, and I guess I pose this question to really either one of you, small business versus an entrepreneur or somebody who can contract themselves out, right? As a social media manager, you can work for several companies, right? And so do you have tools that help the individual versus a small business overall?
So let me, from a 3C perspective, right? We are agnostic in terms of what a small business's focus should be in terms of qualifying for membership. That is to say, whether it be a small business that is a sole proprietor that does social media management for 15 other companies and utilizes Slack channel for its incoming communications and management of systems, HubSpot for task tracking, and some email provider, whether it be Gmail, et cetera, as their back-end tool sets, that person has a digital footprint that is accessible, scalable, and cheap, right? There is built-in security into each of those systems. There is built-in quality into each of those systems, and they will scale with the success of each business. That person would be prototypical of a small business entering a marketplace and succeeding from day one.
Gotcha. I appreciate the clarification there. Victoria, obviously you saw something that you liked about this company and it getting started, so you became a board member. How did you guys hook up on that, on getting this platform going and deciding who your board members would be? I was checking out the website a little bit earlier, and for our audience, that's connectedcouncil.org if you want to check that out. I was looking at your board members, and it seems that you got a nice rounded out board member group there. Do you mind, Victoria, talking about what made you decide to really jump on board with this?
Sure. So I guess for the company, I call it a nonprofit or advocacy agency or advocacy group. But it, since it's, they're not a for-profit organization, I definitely see the need. I watched a lot of the hearings where Mark Zuckerberg went and talked to Congress, and there's just a lot of. And really, most people, if you're not using it day in and day out, you don't really get how it works. I can understand the confusion there, but with different technologies, knowing how easy it was for me to start a business after I started using social media and all of these easy tools to create a website and create emails and whatnot, I started my first business in 1999. I had another one in 2007. That one in 2007 was really difficult. I had to hire an agency to build a website. It cost me $15,000. That just isn't the case today. And so I am, a living, breathing example of how technology has made it super easy for me because I always have a ton of ideas, to come up with something and then just try it out with a very low risk, low cost situation. If this hadn't worked out with Tanglewood Moms and turning it into a publishing company, something else would have, and I would have been able to leverage those technologies in order to start something. And, I don't really let grass grow under my feet. So I already have another business in mind that I want to start, and I know I'll be able to have these tools in place. So I was passionate about joining and becoming a part of the board of directors because I want to help give information from a firsthand experience of using these technologies and needing them to consider us when and if any regulations come. So as far as the other board of director members, I met Jake, and then I had been to a marketing conference in Pittsburgh, and listened to and met one of our other board of directors, Tara. She just got married, so it was genteel when I met her, but thank you. Yes, Tara McMullen. It was genteel when I met her, but she was fantastic, and she's built a business helping network other businesses. So and then Jeremy Howie sits on the Facebook Council with me for small business, and Stella works for a company that I know through Facebook as well. So that's my involvement, and hopefully I can help serve and help educate people and help answer any questions you have or Jake has with what it means for someone like me to be feel like we might have our hands tied if things were to change drastically.
Right, and I love that you're bringing your own experience, right, to the nonprofit organization itself, as well as to this panel that you guys are having for the SkillsConnect Boulder on Thursday. And we are going to talk about that in the next segment. We have about 5 minutes left in this segment. So you both have mentioned the word regulations, which I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Colorado Business Roundtable, but we're big on public policy and helping organizations work on that with government. And so you both have mentioned some regulations. Jake, do you mind talking a little bit about what kind of work you're doing in that sector as far as small business is concerned?
Sure. So I think there's a number of public policy questions sort of floating out in the air right now. There's the more abstract, in the shadow of the 2016 election, Facebook hacking, Cambridge Analytica, what happens with data kind of thing. And then there is the larger question of what does it mean to live in a digital society where data is used by the vast majority of things that we engage on a daily basis, and what is our comfort level with that? As an advocacy organization, and with the input of our membership, it is 3C's intention to help policymakers, whether they be state or federal, elected or appointed, understand the importance of data-driven technologies to small businesses. Right, that some context is incredibly valuable when making these decisions. We believe that informed policymaking or a better process will result in better products. I don't think there's any doubt about that. There's a lot of proof points, and that whenever possible, we will engage in that process. For example, you may know that the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is planning to kick off a series of field hearings in the coming weeks, 15 to 20 cities over the next 5 months, where they will be asking a series of questions, engaging the public to do sort of a listening tour. And the overarching theme, the question out there is, how do you measure the importance of digital technologies in society, in business, and as part of the American civilization, right? The economy, our education, our small businesses, our communities, et cetera. And it is our intention, because we think that's a valuable question, it is our intention as an organization to help them any way that we can, whether it be through research or anecdotes or a public filing that we are submitting to the FTC on August 20th in response to their call for submissions, or frankly, and I think I'll probably speak to this in a few minutes, the SkillsConnect event that we're hosting on Thursday is the first of what will be many events held throughout the year. And I'd love to tell you where exactly we're going with the rest of these events, but we're waiting for the FTC to publish its hearing schedule, because we're going to follow them around like they're the Grateful Dead.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. That's a great plan to follow them around like that. So we have about a minute left here in this segment. I'm going to ask both of you, and Victoria, I'll start with you. If you have any words of advice for somebody starting out with the small business, number one piece of advice that you would give to a small business entrepreneur starting out?
I think, I think most people plan, and then they don't know, should I start this? You just don't need to know everything. If you think you have a good idea and you've done a little bit of research and that you're maybe providing something unique, just try it out. Like I said, my investment was $100 and just a lot of sweat equity. So I would say just to put away your fears of it failing, because you probably will, but as you keep innovating and iterating your business, it can become successful. So I would say, that is the number one thing, is just do it. And then secondly, you probably know a lot of people who would want to help you, who know you, love you, and want to help you, and just let them know what you're doing, what you're passionate about, and help spread the word.
Absolutely. I'm going to get your answer, Jake, when we come back from this break. Stay with us here on Connect and Collaborate. We'll be right back, and be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and we are talking with Jake Ward, president of Connected Commerce Council, as we've been referring to it throughout the show. That is 3C, as well as board member Victoria Wise. She is also the founder of Madeworthy Media. So, Jake, when we took off in our last segment, I cut you off for your advice that you would give to any small business owners or entrepreneurs that are fresh starting out. So if you wouldn't mind giving us that advice now.
But all the extra time is the pressure is mounted, Alex. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to put together anything coherent. Somebody once told me that the number one cause of death for small businesses was stopping, which I took to mean that if you think you have a product or a business model that works and you're just trying to find an audience and trying to find something sustainable, stopping is the only thing that is going to ultimately stop you. And it takes a lot of courage to take that leap of faith and to be sure. And it takes a lot of support from your friends and family and from your community and hopefully from organizations like 3C. But my word of advice would be keep going. Until you are out of options, keep going.
Awesome. So between yourself and Victoria, I got just try it out, make sure you get the help you need from your family, friends, community, and to not stop doing what you're doing. I think those are great pieces of advice, and I thank you both for that. So one of the main reasons we've got you guys on the phone with us here today is to talk about SkillsConnect Boulder. It is your inaugural event. So Jake, I am going to let you have at it and talk about what this event is and why you've decided to start in Boulder, actually. It was one of my bigger questions, but give us the overview first.
SkillsConnect is sort of the embodiment of what 3C is trying to do. We want to visit many cities around the country over the coming years and to bring in-person direct engagement to those communities for small businesses. The programming for the SkillsConnect events consist of pretty significant training. Right, there's much learning as you can do in an hour and 15 minutes of hearing from experts. That's what we want to deliver to small businesses. So in Boulder on Thursday night, for example, attendees will hear from a number of our board members, which I'm foreshadowing the answer to the question of why Boulder first. But we have Stella Cruz from is one of our board members who will tell her story about how she was able to, frankly, save her business and grow it successfully through social media marketing and targeted advertising in what is arguably one of the most mature marketplaces in the world. So she'll tell that story. And then Jeremy Howie, who is a social media marketing expert, will give a tutorial on how best to use Facebook's tools to grow your business, which frankly is very nice of him to do for free because usually he charges a significant amount of money to do exactly that presentation. And then Victoria and I will have a conversation for a little bit, sharing her stories and best practices on what she's learned about the nature of digital business through entrepreneurialism and vice versa. And then finally, I'm going to give a short talk on the importance of public policy engagement for small businesses. And then we're going to have beers and tacos, which is probably the highlight of the evening. Right. And the takeaway, what we hope to deliver to every attendee is some meaningful business information, a hint of inspiration, an idea of how they can better utilize tools, engage with other small businesses who are going through the same thing they are, or engage on public policy issues that they're passionate about, and also the beer and taco thing. We're going to do these events throughout the country, maybe in perpetuity. I don't know. We'll see. But the idea is to make them relatively small and intimate, to deliver value to every attendee. And in the coming weeks, months, we'll also be bringing on experts from the platforms whose tools and services we are largely discussing. So Google will come and participate in events and explain how their tool set can be better utilized by small businesses. Facebook can talk about the value of its social marketing. Intuit can come give tutorials on how best to integrate its QuickBooks online platform for small businesses, et cetera, et cetera. The idea being to learn from the experts, to learn from people that are end users just like yourselves, and to leave an event a little smarter than when you got there.
That is exciting stuff. I appreciate that. Just a couple of follow-up questions. Victoria, I'm going to throw this one at you. You've both mentioned the great use of Facebook, right? And how you can build your platform. It's obviously been under fire since with Mark Zuckerberg, as you mentioned too, watching him in his trials. And do you, obviously, it's been a great tool for you and you know how to push that out. Do you think that is currently the best platform to grow your business, or is LinkedIn better?
I don't really believe that you necessarily have to go all in on one platform. I think a lot of my peers that are maybe a little bit younger, they're just starting out, they really leverage Instagram because that's a lot of where their customers or potential clients are going to be. I like to update on LinkedIn and try to connect with people that may be. The only thing I don't like about LinkedIn is, well, I'll go back. I love LinkedIn to post articles and to kind of show what you've done. I don't like the messaging for business purposes unless you're actually looking for a job. So I wouldn't say that's like the best networking place. I think that can happen more. Feel more organic when you do more in-person events, or if you join Facebook groups, or if you start following each other on social media and whatnot. So I think that you start with, as far as starting a business with simple tools, you can use you probably have a lot of friends' email addresses. You can start using MailChimp and sending out a newsletter, or even through your Gmail. I don't think Facebook, I will tell you, this Facebook group that I manage, it has almost 11,000 members, and we have about 4,000 requests pending. And I just go in once a week and add in new members. When the whole Cambridge Analytica thing happened and #delete Facebook happened, I probably saw maybe a 20 people drop out of it. And I know that's a small, example, but it didn't change as much as people, or at least so much the media said it was going to or would. I think, we've kind of put our lives out there on Facebook for so long, and we get drawn back in because of all the great features and tools. They really do, as Jake said, these businesses, these great, huge platforms, they've put in so many different, grown from something little into these massive platforms that just offer all of these great tools that keeps you coming back. For me, a lot of times it's just going back and seeing all the great family pictures that I've posted, connecting with people now that in another stage of life. And of course, growing the business because people are still continuing to join and use Facebook and Instagram. And I like to help people with how I've done it. And I have another little private Facebook group with another 25 business owners, and I actually have two of them similar. And we just share best practices and articles that we're reading. And so, no, I think that as far as that all happening with Facebook, it hasn't really changed what it is for being a small business today and using that and other platforms. But I wouldn't go all in on one. I like having a little bit of presence on everything.
Well, yeah, the more media tools you've got, the more chance you are to be seen by any audience, right?
Yeah, right. It's the top of the funnel. Just get all the people coming in this way, and then ultimately you get them in within what it is that you're either selling them or offering them as a service, or in my case, having great content so that we can sell advertising.
Awesome. So I want to reiterate again for our audience members out there, you're going to get all of these tools for free at connectedcouncil.org, right? You can join for free. And this particular event that you're having, that is also for free?
It is. That's right.
Which is awesome.
And if you visit connectedcouncil.org, you can register for an invite to the event. There are a couple of seats left at the niche is where we're holding it in Boulder on Thursday evening.
Yes, that's Thursday, August 16th, 4:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Again, at the Niche Workspaces. That's 944 Pearl Street in Boulder, and that is the alley entrance that they would like you to use as well. I definitely did a little bit of research on that, on the program that you're having. And this is exciting.
You should feel free to stop by.
I might. It's tacos and beers. You're really calling out my favorite things there, so I might have to join you if only for the tacos and beers.
There you go.
Who is your audience that you're looking for to make sure that they get in the door, right, to get these tools? Who would you would you say anybody's welcome, or is this more for the entrepreneur, small business? What's your goal here?
So we're looking for a mix, frankly, because we want there to be shared value in the room. And if it's a room of mom and pop sustainable businesses that have all been around for 10 years but are looking for the next tool, the questions will all be ostensibly the same theme, right? But if we add in a dash of 2-year-old, relatively early stage companies that are trying to pivot versus a startup that is looking for the right path forward, now you have a diverse mix of questions that leads to better conversation, which is also the answer to your question about why Boulder first. In addition to being close proximity to 3 of my board members this week, it also is a community with a rich history of startups, small businesses, sort of the independent entrepreneurial streak that leads to successful business growth, and it's the ideal place for us to start.
Well, I personally love Boulder. It's one of my favorite places to visit. I am in the Denver, Aurora area personally, but Boulder's great to bike ride and enjoy. And you're right, there are a lot of businesses that have started up there. That being said, have you guys looked into Denver Startup Week and maybe having a booth there?
We're taking a look at the map, comparing it to a calendar right now. As I said earlier, we're sort of holding our breath, waiting for the FTC to tell us where else we're going this year, and trying to figure out with something a little more sophisticated than a map and a set of darts where we're going to spend time for the remainder of this year and throughout 2019. But Denver Startup Week, as well as Kansas City Entrepreneurial Conference and many others in that vein are high on our list of priorities.
Fantastic. So tell me, so you're a little over a month old. What is your plan to stay sustainable yourself?
We're going to sell beer and tacos.
Wonderful. That's not a bad idea.
Now, there's a number of approaches to building organizations like this. You know, as a not-for-profit, it's not ever our goal to make money in the sense of a traditional business, but we do want to reach a model that is self-sustaining, where we're able to provide valuable resources and services to our members, as well as be an effective advocate when and where we're needed. We're incredibly fortunate at the outset that we've grown pretty quickly. We're at almost 175 corporate small business members in our first month. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't continue and be sustainable. And as you can imagine, where there is a community of that size, there is an opportunity for larger platforms that view those companies as an essential part of their target market to engage. And so for the time being, that is sort of our model, right? We have partner council participants that help us with resources and putting together the minutia of the business model while we're working with the board of directors and small businesses to figure out exactly what they need. The longer term goal, 2, 3, 4 years, is to find enough of what they need that we can provide value to those small businesses at a nominal fee across scale and thus become sort of the AARP of small businesses, right? Where there's enough value built into membership that it's worth it. And then the organization is structured in such a way that it is an essential part of small business planning. Oh, we need to join 3C because they give us access to these tools, these resources, these discounts, and they also stand up for us when we need their help.
Awesome. I love it. The AARP of small business. That That's what I'm taking from this. That's my quote for this show. So you, again, I want to drive you back into that public policy lane because that's something we're pretty passionate about ourselves. When you are doing these events throughout the country, and again, you're waiting on the FTC to get their schedule figured out, what are you looking at local versus federal public policy when it comes to small businesses? Are you doing that deeper dive for the local communities you plan to visit?
We're certainly doing it at a state level, whether it be data privacy issues like the bill that just passed in California, or it be competition or tax-focused issues at a state or federal level. We're going to be paying attention to it, and wherever we can be an effective advocate, we're going to dig in. The municipal level is a little trickier. Right? There are a number of issues that directly affect small businesses, but they aren't inherent to digitally powered small businesses. And at some point, we're going to have to draw a line so as to not try to boil the entire ocean. That is by way of saying, if you've got anything in mind, we'd love to hear it. But for right now, the FTC, some proposals being bandied about in Congress, the California privacy bill, some activity going on in Illinois, and the sense that there is more coming is taking up most of our policy-making energy.
Gotcha. Well, and it's great to even get that perspective, right? Because usually as the typical small business for entrepreneur on your own, it's really hard to get a firm grasp on that verbiage. And, as we know, laws aren't written for the average reader. So
no.
Being able to provide that is wonderful. So what, Victoria, are you looking most forward to with this inaugural event? Victoria?
Oh, goodness. I just somehow had it on mute. I was saying that I sorry about that. I'm looking forward to meeting the other board members. I haven't met them all in person, and then I've just been communicating through video conferencing. And also, I haven't been to Boulder in a very long time, so I'm excited to be there again. We just recently moved to Crested Butte. I'm splitting time between here and Fort Worth, Texas, where I own and run my business. So just really loving being in Colorado and excited to be at that event and be engaged within the business community. We've, like I said, in Crested Butte, we've just been here a few weeks. And I am kind of south of town and feel a little bit like a hermit. So I'm excited to be around people and have adult conversations again. I'm a mom of 4 kids, and there's just a lot of kid time here, and so it'll be nice to step away for a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. Putting on your big girl pants, right, and being able to hang out with the adults. Yeah. We can all appreciate that. Yeah. So what do you see as your personal goals in with 3C? What would you like to see in the next year?
You mean what do I like to see with 3C, or
yes.
Is that what your question
yes,
is?
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. Well, we're definitely new to this, so I'm learning as we go. I would like to see that, our ultimate goals that we've set forth are met, and that we grow this membership and be a great, network of businesses that can help each other out and hopefully learn from each other and from the partner organizations about the tools that they're developing and offering for us. And also that, as Jake has mentioned, that that policymakers are cognizant of the little guys. We're the ones that kind of make up, the fabric of American business. And I think the average age of an American company is just drastically dropping. And so being in business for yourself as a small business is becoming the norm. And those technologies that we are so lucky to be able to use stay in place so that we can be successful without having a large barrier to entry.
I think that is very well said, and I'm sure that you will reach your goal, and I am excited for you guys to have this kickoff. Jake, if you don't mind, one more time in the last 4 minutes that we got here, going over the schedule again, the program of what you're planning to do on Thursday, August 16th, 4:30 to 8 o'clock, again at Niche Workspaces. If you would go over that program for me, I'd appreciate it.
Of course. The doors open at 4:30. We'll spend a few minutes sort of mulling about. I assume that the AV equipment won't work as we start because it never does. and then we'll kick
so
off
true.
with so true. Particularly if there are technology companies involved, things never work. Some phone calls go through. We'll kick off around 5 o'clock. Stella Cruz, one of our board members, will tell her story, which frankly is a pretty inspirational one. It's also pretty telling of the state of things from a small business perspective, about how she was able to grow her business using social marketing and digital tools. I say grow, but I really mean save her business. And so that'll be worth showing up early to hear that part. Jeremy Howie, who is also a board member and a social media marketing expert, will then give a presentation on how best to integrate a tried and true practice of social media marketing and various tools into small business growth strategies, which is can't miss presentation. There's a lot of valuable stuff in there. Then Victoria and I will sit down and chat for a little bit about her experiences starting and running small businesses and how the evolution of digital tools has made it easier to enter into the marketplace and to succeed. And then finally, I will give a very brief, I promise, talk about the importance of small businesses in the public policy world and the importance of public policy on small businesses. It is time that those two groups meet in earnest, I think.
I wholeheartedly agree with you there, and I like that you've got a little something for everyone, right? You've got Stella and her story and how it works in real time, and Jeremy, and his presentation, as well as Victoria and her experience and how she's grown a great business as well, and then the public policy aspect of it. So you've got a nice rounded event here. So that is exciting stuff. We have about 1 minute left, you guys. Any last thoughts that you want to make sure that our audience hears?
I completely forgot about the beer and tacos.
Oh, beer and tacos.
After my presentation, there will be beer and tacos. And so anybody who thinks that those four things sound good, the talks and the beer and tacos, go to connectedcouncil.org and register for an invite. There are a couple of seats left, and we'll be handing out those last invites probably tomorrow. And I look forward to seeing everybody in Boulder on Thursday.
Absolutely. Victoria?
Well, just thanks for having us on your show, and we look forward to spreading this message even further. But I really appreciate the time you've taken with us today to let our voices be heard.
Absolutely. My pleasure for sure. Well, best of luck to you guys moving forward after this inaugural event. I have no doubt that it will go as fantastically as you guys have planned out the event itself. Again, if you would like to register for an invite, that is connectedcouncil.org, and that is taking place Thursday, August 16th at 4:30 p.m. in Boulder. And be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Check out cobrt.com. Check out our events page, as well as our radio page while you're there for this show and more. Thank you so much. Have a great day.